How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I want to start out by saying it has been a very long time. The weather has been extremely cold here in Minnesota. And we've gotten a few inches of snow. So that's where I've been kind of waiting for it to warm up a little bit. So we have cold dips and then it warms up to like 20-30 degrees, which it is today. So now I'm able to work on the car outside. So where we left off was pulling the pistons and rods out of the block. You can see I have them here. As you can see, these are pretty bad. This one's not too bad. So I got these a few weeks back. Haven't even looked at them. Piston rings. Pretty sure these are OEM piston rings. And now, the price. P29 high compression pistons. So I'm assuming these pistons were manufactured or the wrist pin was put into them a long time ago, because this thing is seized, super seized. So I'm gonna get a socket and try to tap the wrist pin out very gently and go from there. I got it to move a little bit, but I didn't put any lube on there, so when I got some Lucas and put it on there. But yeah, now I need to get a socket. So what's cool about these pistons, so they're an OEM piston from a D16 ZC, which was a dual overhead cam D series, only released in Japan. So it is still stock dimensions to majority of the D series, majority of the D16s. It's just a higher compression. And then this one is a little bit different because instead of a pressed in wrist pin, this is a floating wrist pin. So it's customized for aftermarket applications. So it's floating, and then you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but it has a channel in here for the retaining clip. Also, it comes coated on the sides. OEM does not. I think there's a top coating too on the top of the, so from piston ring number 2 up, it is coated. So this is what I'm gonna do. Take this socket. This is a 1/2 inch. I'll probably get something a little smaller for the next ones, because this seems a little, oh, actually this fits perfectly. So I'm gonna stick it in like that, give it a little tap both ends, and get that wrist pin moving. Now that I got a little bit of lube on there. And we go the other way. Yeah, these should just slide in and out, but like I was saying, I'm pretty sure these have been sitting on the shelf for years, because the lube, I mean, like hardly any lubrication is on there, so they're old and crusty. It is moving though. Alright, that took way longer than I'd like to admit. They were super dry. Did get them moving pretty decently. There's still, like, the old residue from the oil is still on there, so it's a little sticky still. But they do move. Okay, now time to get these old pistons off these rods and get the new pistons on. So this might be a little hard to see. I'm going to try my best to zoom in here. See that notch? There's a notch right there, right by where my fingernail is. You grab that notch and you pull this clip out, and then you should be able to slide the wrist pin out this way. So you have two of them, one on either side. And this one is down here. But usually you only take one side out and then slide the wrist pin out that direction. Makes it a lot easier. Alright, so I'm going to try to use a combination of picks and a flathead screwdriver. So again, it's right here. See the notch right there. Someone to dance around on me. I genuinely hate these clips. These are the dumbest clips to use, but these are the clips that they require. I don't want to, mess up and get something that is not supposed to be in here and have it fly out. That would be not good. That would not be good at all. Actually, I'm gonna move my whole set a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so I got the pin moved just enough for me to be able to slide the flathead right under. Oh, man. Not the pin, the clip. Slide it right under this end right here. And boom. Just like that. Just like that. Come on, focus. You can see the opening for the clip right here. So you get a little better understanding of how this pour design works. There has to be a reason why they use it. Maybe because it's cheap. I don't know. Maybe it holds better. Who knows? But that's what it looks like. And this is how the floating wrist pin is supposed to move. So you can see it just goes in and out. Right? So one thing I did forget to mention is that the rods are directional. So you can see the notch right here. So the notch and then the top of the piston. So the top of the piston says in for intake. And then the notch is on the opposing side, so the exhaust side. So that's the exact same way we're going to put everything back together. And yes, I have new bearings too, ACL bearings. Okay, so notch. Intake, opposing side to the notch. Just like that. And boom, bam, bow. I'm gonna lube this up though. So I like to take a little bit of Lucas here, put on my finger. I should put it to this finger. Just go on the inside. Lube around. Holy sheesh. So one thing that I am concerned about though is this right here. That looks like the piston melted onto the rod. Indicating a lot of heat. Which is not good. Which is really not good. And that would probably explain this kind of wear mark in here. A very slight wear mark. Yeah. We'll keep an eye on the rest of the rods, see what they're looking like, but that is not looking too good. Luckily, it is the piston side, so I should be able to just chip this stuff off, but heat definitely got into the rods. All right. So, notch is going to be on the lower side down, and intake is going to be up, like so. And then we're going to push the pin in. And make sure when you're doing this, you're very gentle. Very, very gentle with the piston, the rod, and the pin. So I'm using a rubber hammer, dead blow. I do not want anything harsh hitting anything. And that feels great. Really good movement in there. Before I put the pin in all the way, I'm actually going to put this clip in so I could push the pin all the way to the clip and then flip it around, put this other clip in. So these are the pistons right here, Nippon Racing, Honda dual overhead cam, ZC's, P29's high performance pistons, made in Japan. Yep, these came straight from Japan. And then don't forget, this is on the outside of the box, so don't go and throw the box away. You need these clips, and I think they only give you one extra. So, yep, don't throw the box away. Make sure you take the clips off before you do that. It's on the outside of the box. So, open this up. Actually, put all the clips right there so we can make ease of access. Anytime you're doing any kind of engine work, make sure your area is extremely clean and organized. You do not want to end up in a situation where you're putting junk inside of the engine, especially when it comes to like bearings and stuff like that. You do not want like stuff like that. You don't want that. Even though that's lint, probably from this mat. You don't want that inside your engine. So keep your area very clean, very neat and organized. And yeah, that'll save you in the long run. I don't have the best of facilities right now, but I am as organized as I could get. So I'm just trying to get this thing started. So I like to open it up at the bottom. Oops. Just kind of walk it around and walk it out and walk it out. Just like that. So now your ring is in, and then you can tap, tap, tap your wrist pin in. And then we go from there, and then put the other side in. Whoop, the missus is awake. Huh? I'm recording.
Who's that?
I'm talking to the camera.
Who's knocking on the door?
Nobody's knocking on the door.
Are you sure?
I'm working.
Oh my gosh, you put me out of my sleep.
Sorry about that. So, get this bottom side in. And then you go around the world. Just keep on walking it through. Walk it through, walk it through, walk it through. Bam. Just like that. First piston installed on the rod. Look how fresh that is. Crispy. So I'm probably just, because this takes so long, probably just gonna speed through, but you guys get the basic concept. You see how it's done. So what you do is you rinse and repeat. Well, see you guys in 5 hours. All right. Got everything reassembled. Time for the rings now. Sorry if this view is really bad. I just don't have a good spot to put the camera right now. But I'm trying my best. So these are the oiling rings. Oops, sorry. Looks like they have some kind of coating on them. Either that or they're just dusty. No, there's some kind of coating on there. So 2 rings, 2 oiling, 2 oiling these rings per piston. And it doesn't matter if these rings are upside down, they have no direction. And then 1 of these oiling scrapers per piston. So what you do, actually, put this on. Okay, I'm gonna have to put the oiling part in first. Yeah, my mistake. Put that in first, then you put in the rings. Okay, so you can see the spaces right there. Right, then you put this ring in. Alright, keep an eye on where the space is. I'm actually going to move the space now to somewhere down here. So I'm going to move it to this corner on the intake, and then we'll match that for every single piston. The bottom ring, I'm going to move that to this other corner over here. Okay, so the scraper spacers right there, the ring spaces right here, and then the top ring will go on this corner right here, right? Scraper, bottom ring, top ring. And now we put on the top oiling ring. Walk it around. Boom, bam, bow. Walk it around. Just like that. Okay, now for the second ring. We're gonna put it on and line it up right here. So where the scraper was, or where the scraper is. You don't want any of the ring gaps to be lined up with each other. So second ring, we're actually gonna put in into the first ring slot, and this is called the compression ring. Oops. There you go. And then bring it down to the first spot there. Or the second spot. Kind of scratch the piston a little bit, but it's fine. Then boom, second ring is on, and facing to the north, and facing up. Then the final ring will go down here. So that would be the first ring. So same as the second ring, the first ring, the first ring also has an N, and N faces north. So we're gonna put that on and walk it around. Boom, just like that. And then you line up the ring to that bottom corner. So ring number 1, ring number 2, first oil ring, scraper, second oil ring. Yep, and then you rinse and repeat. So it is okay to put the rings on the sides. Personally, I like the corners, but it is not okay to put the ring on the leading or trailing edges of the piston. So these edges with the skirts take the most wear, and they're also the most prone to leaking through the piston ring gaps if they were to leak through. Well, I mean, it does leak a little bit through, but these sides take the most wear. If you were to measure a piston after it's been run for a long time, these edges are actually thinner than these edges, because the piston is constantly shaking like this back and forth, so it's wearing down these edges more. Also, another thing I just thought about as I'm putting these together, it is very crucial that the two pairs of rings do not line up with each other. So the first and second oil ring cannot be up and down to each other. If that makes any sense. I'll explain it here in a second. Let's get this ring lined up. So the first and second oil ring, that's the bottom one, so that's the second oil ring. The first one cannot be right on top of it. That will not work. And especially the scraper, which is the center part right here, right? That can't be lined up with any of them either. Same with the compression rings. The compression rings need to be opposite. So that's why I have the second oil ring and then the top one opposite of each other. And then same with the compression rings. Opposites attract. Also, some of you may be wondering if I measured the rings. No, I did not measure the rings. I did not measure the rings. I did not shave down the rings. These rings are exactly what came off of the car. The previous ones were measured in spec, and the previous ones to that were also measured in spec. So this is a direct replacement. Same pistons, same rings. Everything is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about the measuring and why I didn't really measure anything. So the engine has extremely low miles, extremely low run time. I mean, we're talking less than 5 hours of run time, 20-30 miles. So what I measured before was with the exact same stuff. So because this stuff got damaged, or well, they're technically, well, I guess the pistons aren't consumables, but the bearings are consumables. So because the bearings got damaged due to debris, I'm just putting the same bearings back in. They measure out the exact same. Shouldn't have any problems with that. Same with the piston rings. The actual cylinder is exactly the same. Nothing has changed about it. Only thing that is gonna change is I'm gonna hone it out a little bit, but that's just to clean up any of the old aluminum that got stuck in the cylinder. But that's about it. Goodies. Honda guys will know. But yeah, that's my story about the bearings and the piston rings, and I'm sticking to it. They really don't look that bad. It's a little hard to see. Only one I'm really seeing stuff on is that right there, but like I can almost scratch it off with my nail. Yeah, it really isn't too bad. So yeah, we'll just clean these up. I'm gonna cover the crank journal so no debris gets on that, and then and go from there. All right, got the Ryobi hooked up to the hone. I really don't like this one. This is a cheap one from O'Reilly's, but I think they used to have the dingle ball one, but they don't have it anymore. This is more of a universal one, so this could do any size. But the dingle ball one kind of works a lot better. Anywho, I got a piece of a little cloth right there on the crank. I'm gonna clean out this cylinder. So anytime you're rehoning or recross hatching a cylinder, you want between 40 and 60 degrees of angle in your cross hatches, and Yeah, I'll show you how to achieve that. So your up and down has to be pretty consistent with the speed of the drill. Just like that. So that's probably closer to 60 degrees, but see how all the aluminum's gone? Fresh cross hatching. It didn't really need much, but yeah. And I'm doing it dry so I could get the maximum cut. I don't want to do it wet and not get any cut. When you do it dry, you don't want to do too much, and the cylinder still does have a little bit of oil in it. So yeah, but I want maximum cut. I want to get rid of all of that. I'm not trying to bore out the cylinder. I'm just trying to cut away all that aluminum, and that's it, and clean up the cross hatching that I previously put in it. All right, we're all cleaned up. All the cylinders are good to go. Yeah, the reason why I'm bundled up like this is because I'm going to be laying on the cold ground, so got to make sure my handy dandy cardboard is good. Got my long johns on. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the cold, but it is what it is. Alright, now we're going back underneath the car in preparation to drop the pan and finally get the rods in. So I'll probably end up doing 2 and 3 first. 2 and 3 first because they are right there. Yeah, look at how good that crank looks. And then from there, hopefully start it. Yeah, that would be the goal. Hopefully to start it. So now is the time to lube everything up. I'm gonna lube up the cylinders. So what I like to do, get a rag and just dump some oil in it. Alright, a good amount. Can't have too much lubrication, so get it nice and thick like that. And you just wipe down the cylinder. It's okay if a little gets in the coolant, that's fine. Alright. You can see from grinding, also takes out some of that too. Put a little more oil on there. The oil's super thick. It's 540, but just because of the cold, it's super thick. Yep, do that. Now all of them are lubed up. Probably put a little bit more. I don't think I'm satisfied. So I'll put a little on the cap here. Make it like this. Oh yeah, she's good now. Oops, spilled it in my hand a little bit. There we go, just like that. Forgot to mention, you also want to lube up your ring compressor. Yes, this is 3D printed. No, it does not affect the rings. I've used it multiple times before. It's perfectly fine. Okay, and now it is time for the replacements of the bearings. Some of them, I think this one fell out. Yeah, I think just these bearings fell out. But I'm going to be taking the bearings out like so. Oops, it's not loose enough. Anyway, I'm going to be taking the bearings out, replacing them with these ACL race bearings. I've used ACLs before, and I've used King's Racing. They're both very good. ACLs are a little bit more on the pricier side, but they get the job done. All right. Got to do these one at a time. So, bearing. I'm also going to wipe underneath too. So you got the rag here. Bearing, and then bearing. And lubricant. Oh, come on. There we go. Lubricant. Oops. Lubricant. Alright. Now we knock them in. Alright, come over to the car. Intake. And then the numbers are on the back side. So go like this. Make sure around here is seated. Just like that. Rinse and repeat. So I'm actually going to mark this right here with a 3. And this one will be number 2. 1. 4. I'm actually going to do these two at the same time because it doesn't make any sense going back and forth. So now we got everything knocked into place. We go underneath and let me set you guys up here. Start putting the caps on. So I have cap for number 2 right here. I'm going to turn the crank a little bit too to line everything up. Just like that. Remember, numbers towards the back. I'm about to go a little bit more. Here we go. Oops. And boom, that's pretty much how you do it. So you see I got the cap in that one. I guess gotta put the cap in that one still. But after that we torque it down and then we go from there. Alright, so torque specs for the rod bolts. Oops, sorry. Torque specs for the rod bolts are 43 pounds. I'm using a Matco 1/2 inch torque wrench. Got this a few years ago. Digital torque wrench. And it is phenomenal. Would highly recommend. I'm actually going to go up a little bit higher. I'm going to go to 50. Just for peace of mind. Here we go. Now I can rotate it. So 1 and 4 are down. And then knock them in. And I will be right back because I'm sure you don't want to see that again. Alright. Got all the pistons in. Looking mighty fresh. Everything rotates over real nice. I'll rotate it for you. I mean, hardly anything. Oops. And bring it up pretty close to TDC. So that's TDC right there. Look at that dome. Crazy. Alright, now we're gonna put the, where'd it go? Right here. The oil pickup tube. I am gonna put a little RTV on the end, just a little bit. Other than that, gasket's pretty, it looks in pretty good shape. It's not crushed or heavily dented in, so do that. Put the oil pan on, put the head on, and then I'm gonna drive it 3 hours up north. So that's how much RTV I put on, like barely any. It's literally just a skim. So now put that on here. Put this here. Sorry if this video is very long and boring, but I don't know, to me it's entertaining. Hopefully you guys find it entertaining too. Okay, let's switch over to the extension. Alright, now we put the pan on. Move this out of the way. Oh! Oil pan is on. Now we move to the top. So we got head gasket, intake manifold, or sorry, head gasket, head, intake manifold, exhaust manifold, oil, timing belt. That's it. You guys already know what that looks like, so I'll just skip over the fun stuff, get that done, and then hopefully we see this thing run and drive, because I'm trying to drive it 15 hours east. Alright, got the head gasket open and on. This time I actually got an OEM one, which is good. And I'm getting ready to put the head on. So, quick run over the head. It is a D16 Y8 head with VTEC, even though I'm not using VTEC because it has locked to VTEC. Skunk 2 alpha springs, retainers, and keepers. The keepers and retainers are titanium. Skunk 2 Pro Series cam gear, that's also titanium. Ferrera 5000 flat face high compression valves. Brian Crower 71 or was it 0071 or 7100? One of the two. Stage 2, I think it's a stage 2.1 cam. Basically the biggest one they make for the D series without having to notch the inside of the head. Stock distributor. 4644 spark plugs, gap to 40 thousandths, and I think that's it. Some small stuff. Oh, P2R intake manifold gasket, very good. It's a thermal gasket, lovely. But yeah, about to put it on, and then go from there. You guys have already seen the process, but just letting you know what I'm doing. Alright, got everything for the most part buttoned up. The exhaust is not attached at the bottom because I ordered some exhaust stuff. I think I talked about it last video or the video before that, but you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that really, but the exhaust does not line up right there. It doesn't line up properly, it doesn't fit good. So I'm gonna have one of my buddies fix everything up, and then I need to put the injectors in, which are still on the machine. So RDX, sorry, let me check this real quick. RDX injectors, they're 410s. OEM. Do not get the eBay knockoffs. That's how we ended up in this situation. Do not get the eBay knockoffs. As you can see, these are Denzos. OEM. Still a little dirty, but way cleaner than they were. This is number 4. I just put 4 in real quick because I can see it. And this is number 3. Okay. So I'm actually gonna pull these out, crank her over a few times, let her prime up, let her build some oil pressure, prime the fuel system, and then she should be ready to bark. It is pretty much an open downpipe. Actually, give me a second here. Let me put this down. Drop that in there. Put that. Oh, that doesn't want to stick. Put that there. But yeah, as far as the downpipe goes, or the header, yeah, all of this is gonna get modified. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't line up. But yeah, it should sound pretty good. I think I'm just gonna crank it, build up oil pressure first. Take this off. She sounds good. Primer up maybe two, 3 more times. Oh, that's good. One more time after this. All right. I plug these back in. Oh, I'm nervous. I think this one goes here. All right, here it goes. She's firing. And get a little bit more fuel in there. Oh, she's wanting to fire. Out of battery. Alright, gotta put the jump pack on, but I gotta clear this snow off first. Hope the trunk opens. Might be frozen shut. Sounded like it did. Perfect. So my battery, I'm thinking probably gonna relocate the battery farther, probably right underneath where, in between the two strut towers, just for balance, because I think this is a little too far back. But yeah, other than that, yeah, this is where the battery is. I'll jump it, and then we'll get footage back inside the car. All right, added the jump pack, spread a little brake cleaner down the throat. Let's see what she does. Primer up one more time. Come on, baby. Oh, she's getting there. So close. Okay, gonna put a little more brake cleaner down the throat. I think it's having a hard time with the ethanol. Set you guys up real quick. She's getting there. Every time I let this thing go, it freezes. Anything's possible. Guaranteed. Well, we set a goal today, gentlemen and ladies, and we hit that goal. Got the Civic back up and running in one day. Started at 9 o'clock this morning. Actually, no, I started around 10. It's now 3:45, and I'm off to hang out with my girlfriend's family. Well, I want to say Merry Christmas to you guys. Hope you guys have an excellent Christmas. Don't eat too much. Don't drink too much. You gotta work tomorrow. Adios.